KIDO Talk Radio joining us from Northern California, Sean Worthington, to talk about something that we all probably don't understand, but would love to get the return. Bitcoin, is it real? Sean, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Kevin?
Thank you for joining us. I know it's wicked early there in Northern California, so we appreciate you getting up.
Thanks.
So, Bitcoin, can you tell us about it and all these cyber currencies? There used to be one, now there are hundreds.
Yeah, they're really popular because they allow us to buy things from our computer, just like we're using cash. There's no bank fees. There's no taxes. We can do it private. There's no record on any kind of transactions as far as the banks go. And we can buy anywhere in the world without any tariffs or laws. And they seem to be going up in value because there's no government-related inflation. They've become very popular, and people are actually using them as investments, and they're making a lot of money.
Is it real?
Yes, it is. It's absolutely real. And one of the things that I've discovered as a computer scientist myself is that money is data, and a monetary system is an information system. And so the value from money does not come from what it's made of. It comes from its value as data, its physical integrity, its logical integrity, things that we use to describe the data in a database.
What about a safe investment, Sean?
Well, if it disappears, then it's not worth anything. And Bitcoin uses something called the blockchain, and this is the first data structure that solved what's called the physical integrity problem of digital money. And with digital money, you can just copy it, you can paste it, and you can, of course, delete it. And the blockchain is a structure in which you cannot delete, you cannot change records. You can just add new records to it, and you can look at the records that are there. So that was allowed for public ledger type of monetary systems. And but is it going to stay there? Well, with quantum computers, maybe not. But that's at least 10 years off in the future. But it's staying there very well right now, although it's slow.
So let's talk a little bit about these other cyber currencies. Why are people putting their money into it, and how are they different from traditional currencies?
Well, the biggest difference is that you can send it over a wire anytime, day or night, and nobody knows about it. And of course, I've created a new currency myself. It's called CloudCoin. And with CloudCoin, we don't use the public ledger. And because there's no public ledger, we just do a counterfeit detection system. It's 100% private. Because it's just data, you can store it in your mind. You can actually transfer it from person to person by just telling people passwords. And it's totally new technology that it has what I think are every property that a person would want in money.
Well, what about somebody hacking either Bitcoin or Petcoin or CloudCoin? Are you worried about that? I mean, the North Koreans can hack just about anything. Are you concerned about that, sir?
Yeah, it's a very big concern because if they can hack it, then the money's no good. And so the thing about Bitcoin is that it's not been able to be hacked. And the only way that it could be hacked, at least scientifically, would be through quantum computers, which are just coming on the market now. Same thing with CloudCoin. It is scientifically unhackable. It's got all of these clouds all over the world, and they create a diversity of risk so that if any one of these systems were to be hacked, that the other ones would be there to help repair and self-heal the hack. So the whole idea is to keep the currency going without any kind of problems, no matter what happens.
How confident are you of not being hacked in your new currency?
Well, I'm pretty certain that we will be hacked, but the entire system will not be hacked. And it's our system is kind of like the DNS system, which is the domain name service that has been running the internet since 1985. So in 1985, they came up with this DNS service. We use it every day. We make trillions of requests, and everybody uses it because when you go to a website, you actually need to go to the number, an IP number, not the name. And so the first thing that your browser has to do is figure out what the number is based on the name, and it goes to a service and does that. Every hacker in the world would love to bring it down. Governments would love to control it, but they cannot. So since 1985, the DNS system has never gone down. Neither has the internet worldwide. And so there are structures that we can create that are proof and safe from hackers.
Sean Worthington with us here as we continue on. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Do you think that this is the wave of the future? Obviously you do. You've created your own currency, and how tough was it to do that?
Well, so our technology, which is called the RADA, the Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents, it's actually the second technology in the history of mankind to be able to solve the physical integrity problem. And it was, hard. I've actually got about 30 college units of economics. I studied economics for a long time. And then I realized that the money is all in computer science. I went into that. And I'm a candidate for PhD for information systems. And I just came to the realization that monetary systems are information systems and money is data. And I think I was one of the first persons to actually realize that. And that allowed me to take all the rules that we apply to databases, apply them to monetary systems, and to create a new currency. I believe it's the world's perfect currency because I took all of the, what would make a perfect data and applied it to money. So I don't know that there can be any better money than CloudCoin. But this is going to revolutionize the world because human beings depend on money. We are organized through money. When there's no money, our society just collapses. And so we see that going on in Venezuela, where the government there has been pumping out money, and we need the money to make decisions. When we get up in the morning, we have to decide what kind of job we're going to work. And money's going to tell us, based on which salary is the highest, what is the most efficient place in society for us.
Well, it does come down to it. So how are people, if they put their money in, how will they get it out? And how do they get it out with Bitcoin, and how will they get it out with CloudCoin?
So that's, a liquidity issue. How can I put value into a system and then get the value out? And with Bitcoin, they can buy something, they can exchange Bitcoins for dollars, or they can exchange Bitcoins for work, or they can exchange Bitcoins for products that they produce. And once they have them, they can then buy things with them. They can go online and purchase stuff all over the world with them, and the same thing with CloudCoin. And also, of course, there is the exchange. So it has the same properties as the dollar, only you can use it over your computer.
Sean Worthington joining us. If you have a question, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It's just amazing that this currency game is rolling. Now, how do you have a value on your currency yet, Sean, or is it too soon?
Yeah, we have a value of, last night I had somebody that said that they paid 12 cents for CloudCoins, 12 cents each. And we've got other people that are selling them for 3 cents, so there's a big range. There's a lot of volatile movement, and we're seeing that these currencies are going up in value rather quickly. And so sometimes when people invest their paycheck at the beginning of the month, they might end up with a lot more money at the end of the month because they're going up so fast. And there's probably a bubble going on because the rise is just incredible.
Well, do you think that when we're talking about this with some of the more that have been around longer than yours, you think that bubble will burst? I can remember we've got a guy who has a Bitcoin ATM here in the Treasure Valley. His name's Phil, our great friend, and I'm sitting there watching it. It's at $2,000, and that was like 3 months ago. Now it's at $4,000, and then it's $5,000, and you're thinking, okay, I guess I can understand like gold going up or something else, but just this cyber currency going up. So back to the bubble, do you expect that to happen?
Well, since this is something new, quite often things that are new do get overhyped, and they do have a bubble. For example, the .com bubble in the year 2000 was an example of that. And with the Federal Reserve System, it makes it easier for there to be booms and busts. They print out a lot of money. That money, I could take out a home loan right now. I could take that money and put it into Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people are doing that, and that's causing the price to go up a lot faster than it normally would be. But at the same rate, it is a new technology. It does have a lot of intrinsic value. People are starting to understand that. They're starting to understand the value of it and what you can do with it. And so it's very difficult to say what the cost should be, especially when there's so many investors around trying to make money off it.
Sean Worthington joining us to talk all things cyber currency. So just as our phones have been redefined, do you believe that we'll have cyber currencies in the next 10 to 20 years?
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of positive aspects to this, and there's also some potential bad things about it because the blockchain tracks every transaction that anybody does, and it's possible that the government could come in and they could create a blockchain type of currency in which they can tell everything that we buy, everything that we sell, and that they can tax us automatically, and they could even redistribute the money automatically. So they could control the monetary system through algorithms, and we could have a blockchain type socialism in which it does the exact opposite of what we would want a currency to do. But there's the other side, and that is that people could have much more privacy. And with that privacy, they could just lock the government out. The government wouldn't know what people are buying and selling. They would not be able to regulate things. They would not be able to tax things. And you could see a big boom in the economy. And because our system is an information system, it is being hacked by banks and by the government. And we could, with digital currencies, we could potentially get rid of those hacks so that our value is not being taken. That would be very valuable to us, but it also has a danger if the government controls it.
All right, let's go to the phones for Sean Worthington. If you have a question about cyber currency, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Dave in Boise. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. I've got a quick question for Sean regarding CloudCoin. I know one of the attractions to Bitcoin is the finite number of Bitcoins available in the system. Does CloudCoin have the same structure?
Yes. So one of the essential ingredients of money is that it cannot be counterfeited. And another one is that it cannot be lost. And so CloudCoin is the first coin, or digital currency, or currency in human history that cannot be counterfeited at all. And so we have a mint, and that money was made, and we can never add any more money to that. And we cannot permanently lose it, so that if you lost your cloud coins, you could file a lost cloud coin report and get them back in 2 years. So we try to keep our money completely static.
And I have a follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I also I follow this a little bit. I know Bitcoin is based at servers in Switzerland. Where are your servers located at?
Yeah, so Bitcoin has servers all over the world. Iceland's a big place for Bitcoin nowadays because of the low cost of electricity and the fact that they've got cool temperatures that can cool their servers efficiently. With us, we have servers all over the world as well. We have to keep a diversity of servers so that if one country was to seize the servers, or if there was a storm in one country, or if there was, some kind of action, that the whole system would not be brought down. So we've got servers in Russia, we've got servers in Taiwan, we have servers in the Philippines, Australia, America, Venezuela, we have servers in Colombia. So we have servers all over the place.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Sean, if people were interested in CloudCoin, what can they do, sir?
So right now we've got a marketing partner, digitalfrontiernews.com, and if they go to digitalfrontiernews.com, they can get my book for free if they sign up for the newsletter, and they'll also get 5 free cloud coins so they can see the future of digital currency.
Sean, we'd love to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Did you want to say something else?
I was just going to say they can also Google buy cloud coins, and they can find cloud coins online.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for joining us so early. We appreciate you waking up, what is it, at 6:20 in California, so thank you.
That's right. Well, thank you, Kevin.
All right. Bye-bye. Sean Worthington joining us talking about CloudCoin. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
As we mentioned today, Chobani officials officially broke ground on what is being called a state-of-the-art innovation and community center. And Chobani says that inspired by the nature of the Magic Valley, this center represents the future of U.S. manufacturing with some 30,000 square feet of glass in the facility, really highlighting transparency and sunlight at the center of its design. Now, this new facility will also include a 2,000 square foot fitness center that Chobani officials say they hope will help employees improve their health and also reduce their stress through exercise. The company says that they are committed to creating jobs and economic opportunity here in Twin Falls through projects like this.
Twin Falls and the Magic Valley is home. It's where our breakthrough innovation happened with Flip. And when we think about expanding our home, a great place for our people to work, a great place to interact with the community.
And a big part of creating new opportunities here in Twin Falls, Chobani hired local architects and engineers to design this facility, and they brought on local contractors and workers to have it built. And the company says that a real motivation behind this project is to continue to make a big economic impact on the local economy. They say that Twin Falls is home for Chobani, and they plan on keeping it that way. And they really hope that this new center, as you can see, will be built right here behind me, is open by the middle or the end of next year. The goal for now, summer 2018.
There we got Joe Parrish from our friends at Channel 7. So, Chobani, I was reading an article about Chobani, and Chobani has been a topic of conversation for many, many years on this program. And look, even though we're not based in Twin Falls, and I believe that 580 does resonate in Twin Falls, and we kind of keep to our own jurisdiction here, it looks like, perhaps, do you believe that a lot of folks were wrong about Chobani? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We had people criticizing the owner of Chobani because he's from Turkey or because he likes the refugees and everything else. And now you have much more being built in the Magic Valley and all the milk and everything else and more major investments going on. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Time for traffic and weather together. Let's get you to... And Kevin Miller in the morning here. We go back to Chobani, and as I've said, and the governor calling it the Magic Valley Miracle. He was there for the groundbreaking. And I understand that there's more to the state than the Treasure Valley, but we live in the Treasure Valley. We are the most populous part of the state. This is where the governor's race, the congressional races, this is where everything is decided. This is where the state capital is until it moves to Meridian. However, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, I still don't understand. And I know people say, well, the dairy farms are so close and such. We have dairy farms here. That you have this world headquarters, the biggest factory in the world for yogurt, built in Twin Falls, Idaho. Population, 45,000 people. That's great. That's fun. That's exciting. Still think it would have been better off if they would have built it here, and then we'd have another $20 million expansion in our area. And, people can say, well, I'm a congressperson. I represent this. I represent that. I don't know. If our chambers, if our business community, if our local governments weren't as astute, which I find terribly hard to believe, as the folks in Twin Falls, or perhaps Chobani just wanted not to be around the hubbub, the brouhaha, the traffic, the big city living that is the Treasure Valley, comparatively speaking to the rest of Idaho. I think it's a lost opportunity for us. It's great for Twin Falls. To our listeners in Twin Falls, great, congratulations. Now, building upon this, people were very, very critical. Lee Stranahan, remember him? We had him on. Very critical of Chobani. Alex Jones, very critical of Chobani. And yet this company continues to invest in Idaho. When you have other companies that are divesting in the gem state, getting rid of people and such. It's an amazing story, in my opinion. So at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, were the naysayers wrong about Chobani? And we've had people call us on and off the air. People have done the show with Ray Amaya, where they'll talk Ray's ear off and they won't come on the air, which is great. We love hearing from you, but it matters when you're on the air. And I think about this, and in fairness to the Chobani folks, there are a lot of people with a lot of relatives in the Treasure Valley that have folks that live in the Magic Valley. So do you believe that everyone involved in this has been unfair to Chobani? There are still people that come to this country unvetted. The refugee situation is still an issue.
Punitive, punitive, punitive. Man. They point out we're on 580 AM. You know, KIDO. You know behind the scenes of it, they're trying to get us off that station. You know it. I'm going to be going to Idaho now. I'm going to be going on that local radio station. I am going to bring investigative crews there. I'm going to show what the locals are doing. I'm going to show the Islamists getting off the planes. You want to fight? You better believe, baby, you got one. It's not Chobani suing me. It's Hamid Ulukia.
See, but here's the other thing. Alex Jones was so disconnected, he didn't even know the station he was on in Idaho. And again, Ray, thank you for pointing out the dairy farmers there. But I think lots of dairy farmers, I get it, low cost, but still, did we miss something out? Mayor-elect Debbie Kling going to join us next. We'll talk to her. Mayor Kling, please hang on. We've got a reporter from Washington, then we'll get to you, plus the news. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
And Rachel Sutherland joins us now from Capitol Hill. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
So the president is going to, talk about Vietnam, visiting Vietnam, and will he meet with Vladimir Putin? What do you think?
Well, that's right. Well, the White House has said there's no official meeting planned between President Putin and President Trump, although Press Secretary Sarah Sanders has said, they could bump into each other. I'm picturing kind of an awkward meeting by a water fountain or something like that. They did shake hands not long ago, but that's the extent of it that we've seen so far. Russia is saying there will be some kind of a meeting, whether it's on the sidelines or not. So we're kind of getting some double messaging out. But from the White House saying that, they could bump into one another, they may speak to one another, but there's no formal sit-down planned.
Of course, if they do, the topic would have to be North Korea and a few other things, I would imagine.
You would think so, that North Korea, possibly Syria, would be on the agenda of any kind of discussion like that, but we aren't apt to find out unless there's, some kind of enterprising reporter nearby or a leak or something like that. But we could find out what they have to say. All this is happening as the president's on this 12-day trip through Asia. He's in Vietnam, and then about 3 or 4 hours ago, delivered a pretty passionate speech about trade, saying that America is going to be treated fairly. He's saying it was pretty much, an America first kind of speech, which you would expect from the president, and it sounded a lot like candidate Trump, saying that the U.S. will no longer turn a blind eye to trade abuses. He also said he spoke openly and directly with the Chinese president about what he called unfair trade practices, although his tone certainly changed, once he left China and landed in Vietnam.
Rachel, what can we expect when the president returns?
Well, he's got a lot facing him here, especially when it comes to tax reform. He will be waiting for that bill he hopes will arrive on his desk in time for Christmas. We know that the House version made it out of the Ways and Means Committee. The Senate has unveiled its version. There are some significant differences between the two plans, so that would need to be those would need to be ironed out. But the president is still hoping for tax reform.
Rachel, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, let's go to the mayor-elect of the city of Napa, Debbie Kling, joining us here this morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good to have you with us. Part of my Chobani thing, I think, was based on our conversation at the Walmart a couple weeks ago. It just kind of resonated with me. So what do you make of Chobani expanding, and it's great for the Magic Valley? Did we miss out here in the Treasure Valley?
Well, I tell you what, Twin Falls and that area had a great Go Ready team. And I tell you what, they've collaborated, they've worked together between the chamber, the city, the region. It's great. And if you think about it, so you mentioned it earlier that the dairies are not, we do have dairies here, but it takes a lot of cows, right, to produce the milk, to supply them. So the Treasure Valley, with the growth that we've got some dairies, and obviously we're providing milk to Sorrento Lactalis here in Canyon County or in Nampa. But you have to have the supply. So is it the right mix? Maybe out in Canyon County, but I have to say we didn't have that Go Ready team, that collaboration, and you have to have good collaboration. You've got to be working together between the city, the county. It all needs to flow together, and I think you're going to see an improvement in that in the coming season, but at the time, we didn't really have that. And Twin Falls knocked it out of the park.
What do you make of that, though? Okay, Twin Falls, a little smaller than Caldwell, and they could lure this manufacturer of Chobani yogurt to build this world-class facility. Now, $20 million in additional structures and funding and everything else. That's a big impact anywhere, but in a town like Twin Falls, wow.
You're right. You know what the greatest challenge they're going to have is workforce. You've got to, and you're seeing development in Twin Falls, but having the workforce to supply the need with the growth that they're doing, that's going to be the greatest challenge that Twin Falls is going to face, and it's the greatest challenge we're facing. Here is having the workforce. 80% of the people moving in, at least this is a stat, it's about 6 months old, are over 55. Because a lot of people are moving in to the Treasure Valley, but that's not our workforce moving in. So for us to be able to recruit business and some of that business growth, we're going to have a workforce that's willing to work.
Well, and as you know, and you and other leaders in our area are very well familiar with, we have the youth leaving, and we have the folks coming in to retire. But it's so frustrating for parents and grandparents seeing their kids leave the Gem State for other opportunities. So to try and find something that would lock them in is a challenge for everyone.
Well, you're right, but you know what? I think we're seeing more young people want to stay also, though, because especially once they graduate from college, when they start having a family. Many young people are wanting to come back here to raise a family because it's a great place to live, a great place to raise a family. So there's a season in a young person's life they may be leaving, but what you do see is a migration back. We just have a huge migration right now coming in from California, Portland, and Seattle because they're retiring and they need the housing costs and the cost of living we provide here for their retirement. So that's why that's happening.
Right.
So workforce is critical, though, for us to get it done.
I was going to say, back to this, creating this team and such, are you excited about the prospects? Obviously, you're working the chamber, but now, as being the mayor of the city of Nampa, once you're sworn in, to be able to put that team together and then, I for lack of a better term, go big game hunting.
Absolutely. I am excited because, what we have got to – Canyon County needs to work together. It shouldn't be Nampa, Caldwell. We've got great people, and we will have a greater working relationship. There's already a good working relationship at the economic development level, but we will continue to grow that. And I think you're going to see a strength of coming together from Canyon County because, what's good for one community is good for all. And so we need to, and we do work good together, but you're going to see us work even better together in the coming months and years. It'll be good. I'm excited about it.
Well, we can tell, and we're excited about this new direction. And, we go back to what does it take? And I'm sure you've studied what they did right in Twin Falls. What does it take to build this team to have the package ready to, and again, a company like Chobani, they're not just looking at states, they're looking at countries for these massive facilities. Right. Well, Chobani's a little different than some other businesses that we would be bringing in, mainly because of the ag connection. And you've got to have the dairies. And Twin Falls has the space. We are growing so much in this valley that from just a land use standpoint, to have the massive dairies, you're out of ways. And that's one of the things that Twin Falls had was they had that land mass to have all the dairies to produce the volume that Chobani needs. But so Sorrento Lactalis, right here, they closed the plant in California and moved it and expanded here in Nampa, and which is great to see them do that. And that's because we've got, we have a little bit easier regulatory environment here than you do in California. So that's a huge plus. And I'm sure that's what Chobani is experiencing. Besides the fact that I will say our state did an amazing job when they worked well with Twin Falls, with the team in making sure that they met deadlines,
And so when you do a great job like that, you're going to have people say, hey, I want to expand here. So hats off to the Twin Falls area, to their entire team. And, it's great. I will say Sean Berringer, he's the president and CEO of the chamber, and he's also the acting mayor in Twin Falls. You've got a huge synergy between city and chamber, and that's something we're going to enhance here in Nampa.
Finally, you go back to that. I'm sure you studied that whole situation with Chobani, with the national attention, with Mayor Berringer. He was under siege a lot. We talked about it to a degree. When a community goes through something like that, the impact it could have negatively, and it looks like Twin Falls is moving on from that. What did you? I mean, not to talk about it politically, but just when the entire country is bearing down on you. I don't know if that's not good for business.
I can't really speak to that issue because I haven't followed it tightly. So I wish I did, but I couldn't really speak to it. So,
sure.
The key is keep the game face on, do a good job, stay on point, and move forward. You know what? Idaho's a great state. These are great communities with great people, and we just, keep moving forward, which we can do.
Well, I'm sure you're very busy.
Just a little.
Well,
that's an understatement.
Well, we look forward to seeing you
really
next week in Nampa at the Walmart, our home away from home.
I will be there. I'll come by and say hi.
Well, thank you, and congratulations once again. You're living proof that, jumping into the arena, you can make a difference.
I think everyone needs to believe that their voice matters, that their vote counts, and we need people engaged. And I hope that I can help encourage that, not only in Nampa, but in the entire Treasure Valley. Get engaged, be a part of the process.
And finally, have you started working on the transition, or is it too soon? I know it hasn't been a week yet, but...
No, I am working on the transition. So I'm busily at work at it, and also with the chamber transition. So there's a lot to do in a short period of time, but we're well on it, and we'll be announcing, some things, but it'll be another couple weeks before we'll do that.
I figured. Well, Mayor-elect Debbie Kling, we appreciate you coming on, and we thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kevin. Keep up the great work.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
Take care. Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we have it. Mayor-elect Debbie Kling joining us once again, fresh off her election in the city of Nampa. And, part of that conversation we were talking about with Chobani is we were talking about what Twin Falls did right. And I know we have a lot of people here in the Treasure Valley, with the Boise Chamber, the Nampa Chamber, the Meridian Chamber. And I believe, Ray and I, we had this folks on many, many years ago. And it was like it was like a Super Friends of the Chamber, and they were bringing in. I think they brought in Whole Foods, and they might have brought in Trader Joe's, and really they extend the Treasure Valley from. And maybe this is the real Treasure Valley. Although that would be a big valley from. They define it as Mountain Home to Ontario, and what they would do was bring in businesses and such. And again, I understand Twin Falls. It's great. A lot of yogurt. They have a nice little dirt ramp that Evel Knievel was there. They have a Best Buy Junior Edition. But could we have done more? I mean, we're talking millions of dollars. And there are people that have listened to this program and have for years that think that they don't agree with Chobani. They don't want Chobani here. They have issues with the leader of Chobani and the like. So at 580-5436, with another $20 million expansion that we heard from our friends from Channel 7, were some of us wrong about Chobani? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And Major Chris Borders joins us now from the Idaho National Guard. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Great to be with you once again. Great to have you with us here.
Likewise, as usual.
So let's talk a little bit about a change of command when we're talking about the Idaho National Guard.
That's right. Not just the Idaho National Guard, but the Idaho Military Division. Big organization, fourth largest in the state. And this past weekend, we said farewell to Major General Gary Saylor, who's been our commanding general out here for the last 7 years, but served in the Idaho National Guard for the last 40. That's 40. So it was a bittersweet event to say goodbye to him. 45 years of total service wearing the uniform. But the good news is he's turned the reins over to a very competent and combat-proven leader, Brigadier General Michael Garshak. Yes. So big change. Change at the very top. That always creates a lot of change underneath.
Indeed. You're not going anywhere, are you?
I hope not. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the answer I have. I hope not, too.
Well, I love the job, like these opportunities to talk with you. You know, anytime, I always like to listen, but when I know I'm going to do an interview with you, I always tune in extra early to kind of get a feel for your day's angle. And I didn't know if I was going to be talking about Aquaman or country music trivia this morning. So it's always interesting with you, Kevin.
Or yogurt.
Yogurt, I heard that one too. So I tried to Google Aquaman just to be sure I was ready to go, but apparently our networks don't allow us to search that term.
Well, he is a member of the Justice League. I can understand that.
Right, yeah.
Major Borders, let's talk a little bit about Gowan Thunder. How was it, and could we see more?
Well, boy, it seems like an eternity ago that we just had our air show. We've had so much stuff going on here recently, but that's right. The weekend of October 14th and 15th was our first air show in more than 20 years. You know, we weren't entirely sure what to expect, but the public attendance far exceeded our expectations. It's really hard to get a good solid number on the turnout because there were no ticket sales. We didn't have any turnstile counters or anything like that. So we relied on parking lot density and porta potty use as well as vendor sales to give us some good estimates. And we think on that Saturday, the first day of the real open house, we had about 50,000 people attend. And then Sunday, much to our surprise, we think we had about 60,000. But then on the Friday before, we had a kind of a private gathering out here. We had about 8,000 guardsmen, active duty members, retirees, veterans, first responders and their families all come out. So in total, we think we had about 118,000 people out here that weekend. So it was great for us, great opportunity for us to get back, connect with our community, tell them what we do, and show them the stuff that we do our mission with.
Now, Major Borders, we're up against it with traffic and weather, but I want to ask you about Veterans Day, honoring our veterans. Thank you, sir, for your service. Our mutual friend Jeremy and so many others.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for your support. Last weekend we had the Boise Veterans Day Parade. That's our big push as the overall organization, but we're going out today and tomorrow all across the state in smaller units, going to high schools and veterans assemblies like that, just to really thank the public for all the support they've been giving us over the years. So it's not just about us, it's about all those people who rally around the flag. So thank you and your service and support to us.
Major Borders, we'll have to have you on when we have more time. Thank you, sir.
You bet, Kevin. Have a good Veterans Day.
You too. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Traffic and weather again. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We will be honoring our veterans as we do every day. We thank them for their service. We thank the employers of the Idaho Army and Air Guard, the Army Reserves, for allowing those family members to serve. It is such a privilege. And in my world, the folks that serve would be getting paid the big money, like the athletes. So from a humble servant, thank you, and God bless. We're rolling, and we so appreciate you. You're listening to Kevin Miller on the home of Fox News Radio, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.